Obviously, this is going to get sent to all of the guests. That's a joke. Bitch, get a life.
Get a
Podcasting is really hard. We'll see. At least we can laugh at ourselves. Live from New York, it's Nora Bolster.
Hey.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Just finished the work that I've been doing for the past 2.5 weeks, so feeling super excited, but at the same time a lot less purposeful than I have been, but I think that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes a lot of sense.
I just re-downloaded TikTok, so big moves.
Oh, big moves. Mommy moves. I actually got a little dressed up for this. That's embarrassing. Okay, so would you like to just tell my extremely large fan base about yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Wait, what am I supposed to focus on? I've never learned how to answer this question.
Okay, I also don't know how to answer this question, so I'm sorry I brought it up. But I just think wherever the wind blows you would be helpful, and we can what you want the people to know. Keep in mind the people will mostly be those following my Finsta at this point in my career. But who knows?
The people are at least 10 people, so that's kind of a significant amount. And I don't think those people know who I am. So like this is kind of a make or break introduction.
Correct. Okay. I never had brunch with any of them.
No. Okay. Let's see. I'm from New York, as we said in the intro. I an all-girls Catholic high school, but not just for high school, K through 12. So I think that explains a lot about who I am as a person. I live with my family. They're all very high-strung people, in the most volatile way possible, which is extra fun. Today, what else about myself? I don't really have any activity I can point to as something that I like do. But I think my vibe kind of addresses that. And yeah, I think that's going to be about myself. We'll get to the rest of that later.
Okay, that was a really great intro. The first one ever, because honestly, I have not even introduced myself on this podcast. Yeah. Basically, the whole reason why I wanted to do this was because, well, obviously I love to hear myself talk, but beyond that, I felt like I wasn't really connecting with people.
Yeah.
Which makes a lot of sense given like the current state of things. And I felt like I'm most connected with people when I was talking with them one-on-one.
I agree.
But then, which is fantastic, but then at the same time, I'm like, oh my gosh, this feels weird without so-and-so here. Or like the rest of the script. So I was like, is there a way to have these one-on-one conversations and like times, but also share it with the other people I'm friends with?
Nice.
And so that's where this came from.
It's like a little like quarantine diary.
Right. And I feel like if nothing else, like I'm going to find this several years from now and be like,
clearly I was going through something, but then it can kind of be like a look how far I've come type moment.
Right. Yeah. So I think this will be great. I mean, it'll definitely be interesting. And it's something I've been thinking a lot about is like how much I can say. Because like, you know, usually I'm pretty off the cuff, like especially with like dropping guy names and whatever, all that stuff. So I think what I've settled on is like romantic interests of mine. I'm not gonna call them by name.
Right. You don't want to expose it to the people.
Especially, I think the only one we can expose is the swimmer because like he would love the attention.
He would. I mean, it helps this whole stand-up comedy situation.
Right. And also, I feel like it would be doing just everyone a disservice to not warn them of what he's capable of.
The fact that he may or may not have people in his basement.
In his basement. So, okay. So,
did you see the video Kevin posted on his story?
I did see it. That's one thing.
I was honestly kind of impressed.
I was impressed too. He looked very tall in it.
He is.
But he is very tall. It's just like, you know, I've only seen him in my phone, and my phone's like not 6'4" like he is. So, you know, it's like hard to remember these things. Anyway, hey, Kev, if you're listening. I don't know if he will. Well, when I post it, obviously not right now. This is just like you know, I
Right.
think the people
Yes.
that podcasters do it. Okay. So I'm going to move into some things. This is an interview now. Welcome
Okay.
to the danger zone. So, first of all, I miss you.
I miss you too.
It's weird. And second of all, I was looking up interview topics.
Right.
Yeah, I just Googled that. And so the list that came up, I was like, oh my gosh, 150 questions. My preparation is done. I go to look at the list. The questions they can basically be summed up into what I'm about to say here.
Okay.
What makes you right for this job? So I quickly realized it's a different kind of interview. Completely different. I'm talking about like childhood trauma, like
Right.
those sorts of things.
The
Not
stuff
like
that people want to hear.
right. You know, what makes the world go round, but like not like, are you right for flipping burgers? Which like
That's good because like I'm not right for most jobs.
oh, that's something I actually wanted to talk about with you. I had this very interesting idea in my head of what you were like as a child. Because, and cut me off if I'm wrong, because
No,
when
I
I
want to hear
think
this.
of you, I feel like we've talked about this before, but for the people in the back, like you are this really interesting person because you have a very strong sense of humor. It's sarcastic, it's dry, it's very observational, it's hilarious.
Thank you.
Then that sense of humor is like mixed in with your like corporate ladder upbringing, which we've
Right.
definitely talked about this a lot, but it's
Yes.
just like a really interesting flavor combination. Like an espresso martini, like you're like, that's definitely not going to be good. But then you show up and here we are. So it works. That's the
Like,
bottom
there's
line.
so many strong things going on
Right.
here.
Exactly.
You're like,
and
we just can't handle it.
It's great. And obviously you have more to you than just the things that I'm saying. But like that's what really sticks out to me. And so in my mind, I imagine you as like an 8-year-old. And if you were don't take this the wrong way, but if you were raised by like, I don't know, people who lived in trailer parks in like the middle of America,
Right.
I feel like as an 8-year-old, you would have like been the class clown. If you were just completely removed from the corporate pressure that you may or may not feel from going to like private schools and living in New York, all that stuff. And it's probably wrong, but I don't know. I'm writing the story of your life for you, but that's what I'm thinking.
So we can start in preschool. So like for the New York schools to get into kindergarten, you had to take a standardized test, which is just crazy talk. I don't know if it's everywhere, but so we had to take the test. And I refused to take the test, like fully left the classroom, tried to leave the building, refused to take the standardized test, failed the standardized test, and then didn't get into the kindergartens. But my family was very unhappy and I was very unhappy. So then I reapplied to Sacred Heart, got in, and then I was the child who forced everyone to listen to my departure announcement. So like I made a big being like, I'm leaving, I'm no longer gonna be here, I'm moving on up in the world. And I told everyone I was going to Sacred Heart. Oh, okay, 4th grade, I had a calling out issue. So I was the kid the teacher gave a notebook to write down all of my thoughts, so I didn't share them with the class.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
So I actually had a notebook where I had to like write down the math answers so that way I didn't share them. And I was so angry that she wouldn't call on me because my ideas were so good and they just wouldn't listen to me.
Oh my gosh.
Infuriating.
That's incredible.
Yeah, but at the same time, I was really bad at certain things too. Like any like creative activity I like couldn't do and wouldn't do. It was a split for me that I really struggled with in my childhood. And then obviously throughout every year I hated Liam because he's the worst and he's an attention whore. But what can you do?
Those who don't know, Liam is your brother, your younger brother.
Yeah.
Who eats like a carton of eggs for breakfast.
Yeah. Not even a joke. He eats, so he has had Chipotle so many times and he gets it.
I'm so sorry. What did you just call that?
Chipotle?
What?
What is it supposed to be called?
Wait. Are you serious right now?
Okay,
Have you always called it that?
I have always called it that. I know I pronounce it incorrectly, so I call it pottle at school because that's what Maddie calls it, and I just know I won't get that wrong. But now that I've been back with my family, they all call it Chipotle, so it's come back into my vocabulary.
That's wild. That's okay. I've heard people mispronounce it that way.
It's
what I
supposed to be
haven't heard is my grandmother calls it Chipotle. So that's not right either. But continue. He's
Wait, what is it supposed to be?
Chipotle.
Chipotle.
I think
Okay.
the L comes after the T.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna call it Chipotle.
We said the humanities weren't your strong suit. So
no, they aren't. Still can't spell. Still can't read. He gets it with double steak. So like that really just says all you need to know. And he doesn't get the vegetables. He gets like double steak and like sour cream and cheese and then like guacamole and that's it.
That's like not really guac is extra. Is he okay with that?
The guac?
The guac is extra, isn't it? Isn't it the whole thing?
Oh yes. The guac
like
is extra.
Every white girl who like is in Mexico on a beach vacation is like, I'm extra too, but you still get the guac or some bad caption like that. I 100% might do that.
I think you should. I'm at an avocado like a day diet at this point, so that's interesting.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I try to like them really hard, and sometimes I do, and then sometimes I'm like, what is this literal ground mush?
Are you kidding?
No.
I have breakfast every day.
I know, because you have your Georgetown breakfast every day. It's amazing.
Yeah, oh my god, the bagel taste testing was real.
So one segment I came up with was that I have an astonishing notes section on my phone, which probably doesn't come as a surprise.
No.
Filled with like jokes that I've found funny, of course, that I've made and wanted to share with the class more so than I had already, or like inspirational quotes.
The usual. Wait, quick question though about your note section. Do you trust the note section? Because I personally don't.
What do you trust it?
Like, I don't want to write things that I don't want people to see.
Oh, well, yeah, in theory, I would tell somebody not to trust it because I have really embarrassed myself sometimes. But I do write stuff in here. It's not as bad as the diary, but the diary is about an off-limits individual way too much, who I'm actually doing a lot better about.
Really?
Yeah, and I think I've just kind of really come to the realization that I probably just will be alone for a while. And that all of the feelings that I thought I felt are fake news.
Wow. I don't want to delve into it here. Back at school, if you ever felt like weird or nervous about something, or like someone, like you would see them in person, and then like that would override any like thought you had. So now you're just rethinking like a bunch of like tiny little interactions with no new information or context. So you can like force yourself to any conclusion.
Yeah. No, you're so right. I've actually convinced myself that I'm the worst person in the world at any sort of sexual activity as I've thought back on all of my experiences. So, yeah, that's been a really fun journey.
That sounds really fun. The issue is you can convince yourself of it.
Yeah, you can. I convinced myself actually for a little while that you didn't like me anymore. That was like last week.
I've just switched back to the to like basically what I did in like last spring or whatever, because I'm back home. I like text Bella every single thought I have, and then like I don't text, like I don't really say anything else, and she's more of just a depository for my thoughts because she responds to like 1 every 10,
like the math notebook from elementary school.
Literally, I think it's a theme.
I like that sort of texting. It's definitely entertaining, but. So I feel like our conversation probably looks like we're breaking up with each other with like the amount of text that's like sent. It's like 14 different messages like per thought.
Literally.
They're long, many a paragraph.
And it
just like goes back and forth. And it's like heated, but I don't even know. It actually does look like a breakup. I'm like, if I get a man to like send me this much information, I'd be set. You're like a good digital conversationalist, I must say. So good job with that. Oh, I've also, we know the Finsta recent development.
Yes.
So I love it sometimes, and then other times, like if I post something and it like doesn't get interacted with, I feel like someone is stabbing me. Like my whole
Is it
ego
painful?
it's painful. It's like, first of all, it's a Finsta, so we already know I'm the low place. Second of all, people not interacting with the Finsta is just like kicking me while I'm down. It's like so upsetting to me. How dare they?
Anyway.
Okay, so many things to talk about. So, or how about I read two and then we pick one to discuss?
Okay.
Okay. This one is an excerpt from the book The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. It says, when you dig just the teeniest beneath the surface, everyone's love life is original and interesting and nuanced and defies any easy definition. This one is by yours truly. It says, I like texting boys when I don't have their number saved. It makes me feel like I'm wearing a strap-on the top of a mountain. So, which
the issue is obviously the first one is much better written and much more of an interesting idea. However, the second one just has so many questions that come to mind. Like, first of all, like, why don't you save people's phone numbers? Second of all, you know who they are, so I don't know how that changes the experience at all. Third of all, it's so much more fun when you name them the weird contact names. I like that so much better. And fourth of all, that's even a phrase. I just don't know how you know what that feeling is like of standing on top of a mountain with a strap on.
Okay, yeah. So you've come up with some really great conversation prompts for us. And let's just dive in. So I feel like it's a power dynamic situation. And I have a large heart. And I think I need to withhold some of that energy, especially in the way that like relationships and courting, shall we call it, works these days. Like I need to hold back a lot of myself. And I'm conscious of it. Like this is what I think. I'm crazy in the way that I have a capacity to like do things to an extreme level.
Right.
And I think I'm socially aware enough to like not do them.
Yeah, so, like, I always say points for knowing yourself. And I feel like if that's what if you know yourself and then can like act based on that, you're so fine, even if you are independently would be more crazy.
Thank you. And I feel like you did bring up a really good point. It's like, I know who this guy is because by not putting his number, like with his name, of course, I've just memorized his phone number. Because, so it's a bit of a double-edged sword.
So who really has the power?
Yeah, I ask myself that every day. Yeah, so, and usually this not saving the number situation, it's very early on.
Right.
Like, when I don't know if we're gonna have another conversation again,
you
even
don't
though I
like
want to. I don't want to save the number because it's like, whoa, lady, like stop naming our kids.
I kind of get that because then it's
like,
because it's like you only save the number if you think another conversation is going to be had.
Right. And my thing is, I probably go on the lesser side of that. Like, I would just, in my mind, train myself to be like, another conversation's not going to happen. He's not going to want to see you again.
You're actually so right, though. They're guy friends from, like, school. And, like, I didn't save the number because I was like, I'm never going to, like, text this guy again. But then after he texted me, like, 3 more times about her, I was like, oh, now.
Once I get to that point, I'm like, okay, got to just degrade them even more. And that's where the strange contact names come up, such as what a weirdo or Nora's dad. Not that I even have feelings for Nora's dad's contact save, but it's just like a bit of a power situation, probably because he has so many goddamn friends. So it's just like
so many friends.
So many friends. Like, yeah, he's a weirdo. If he doesn't respond to my message, that's so weird because he's holding on to like hoarding a piece of garment. So riddle me that, cowboy, because it makes no sense. I felt like I had the power in that line of thinking. And then whenever I texted him from then on, it was like reminding me of the time when I had power.
Because now that he's a weirdo, though, he can't have the power.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you wanna not respond to me, weirdo.
Weird.
That's really. Oh, and the last question was, it makes me feel like, how do I know what wearing a strap on the top of the mountain feels like? Oh yeah, I don't actually know, but it's more like an imagined sensation.
The vibe.
Like,
I get that.
The vibe. It's like, it feels. First of all, it's like powerful to be on top of a mountain. Second of all, it's powerful to like have a penis, but I'm not looking to have any sort of like sex change surgeries within the foreseeable future. So strap on the closest I get.
Don't want to commit to too far out though.
Right. I want to go back to my like submissive role in society as soon as possible.
That makes sense.
Oh, this just got political. Sorry for everyone cringing at home.
Sorry to the people.
Sorry to my fans. Okay, so option 1. Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. That's from Albert Einstein, okay? And those who hate you don't win unless you hate them, and then you destroy yourself. That is by Richard Nixon.
So the first one is actually talked about a lot in my household because we, in the past few years, my parents had a lot of issues with the younger child, and that he wasn't fitting their idea of academic excellence. Not that I did, but I was more like, I did what they viewed as like needed to be done.
Got it.
So they always talk about how he's very intelligent, but just in a different way. And I talk about they changed their standards of parenting after the point at which I finished. And it's actually a real point of contention in the household because I was yelled at like I would get like a B in my mom in like 9th grade, and my mom would be like, "You're never getting into college with these grades." And then Liam failed out of high school. And he's just smart in a different way. And I was like, it's like the stupid shit where like they still wouldn't let me like go like be out at midnight, but like he could like come back at like whenever he wanted. And I was just like, he's not doing well in school. There's literally anarchy going on. And I was like, and no one will acknowledge the split.
Yeah, that seems like it's unfair.
However, I do get their point. I just resent the choice to do it. But I don't wish that they'd done anything differently. I just wish I don't know.
It seems like you want a little recognition of the fact that it's different, that the standards are different, because it's frustrating when it's like you feel that pressure was put on you and all of a sudden it's gone. And it's not like you would wish your life to be any different, or you would wish that same pressure to be put on someone else. You just want to be recognized for like what you went through and where you ended up.
You've done so much of a better job of understanding this than either of the parties in my household have.
That's tough. So that's actually very interesting. I'm sorry that like you have that. And I feel like
makes me seem like such a brat. Like, I've also.
It does. So, do you agree with this quote, or do you feel like your parents shoving it down your throat makes you frustrated, and that more stuff is just dependent on effort?
I do agree with it. In that, like, I think people are just better at different things. However, I also do think there are like certain standards that just can't be like ignored. You know what's really scary? Thinking about art, like, this is not related to the podcast, but I've been doing a lot of thinking. And after like these 4 years, like, it's very unpathed. It has the real possibility to like go downhill in a way that I think our lives don't currently and haven't before this point, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. And I feel like I have a different, maybe I'm going to sound super annoying right now, but I feel like I had like a glimpse into what like the option to do absolutely nothing on my gap year.
That's fair.
Like that. Obviously, I still like I just deferred Georgetown. Like I knew I was going there in the fall, so it was different because I still had that overall direction. But in, like my day to day, I guess I could have just like done nothing. I could have, I don't know, like developed a drug addiction, or like it could have really gotten pregnant. It could have. I mean, like I'm really mad I didn't do it. So yeah, so like I definitely see what you're saying, but moving past me being super annoying and mentioning that I took a gap year.
Is your family? I feel like your family has focused a lot on this recently.
Oh, okay. 2 things my family likes to say about me. I'm not funny. 2, I'm my own biggest fan. 3, she didn't know when to start college. 4,
No way.
she's going to be 42 when she graduates. But, also just like the where I decided to go to college, that was obviously.
They like
the
that one
weirdest
too?
choice. Yeah, well, for a while they did, but I got real sensitive about it, so that one was stopped. Thank you, sweet Jesus. We do not need that emotional turmoil again.
Is
Yeah.
it right though? Like I feel like your family can bring about anger and like just like issues unlike anyone else.
No, it's so true because this is what I'm struggling with. Everyone, I feel like I grew up with my family, I grew up with my parents. Like, are they the ones in the world that are supposed to know me best? Because I feel this like very large dichotomy between who I like am now and like who I was when I was still living at home.
Yeah.
I've talked about this too, how you like joke how I seem like a completely different person
Yeah.
when I was in high school. And I felt like that person was like sort of like needed and sort of praised by my family.
Yeah.
And so I have, I think, made like active choices to not be that same person, which I think I'm doing because I want to grow. But every time I like make a step, I feel like towards that growth, it feels like it's also going against my family.
What they like, or their picture of you.
Yeah, going against their picture of me, and they sort of eventually in things, but I feel like those intermediate steps, like I've always felt like sort of resistant. I don't know how to say this the right way, but I've stopped putting like responsibility and like durability, or like I feel like I'm talking about like a condom commercial, but like, you know what I mean? Like reliability. It's like I used to value competence. Oh my gosh, I thought that was like the most important quality in the world. And then I'm like, that is such a sad way to look at life.
It is. This is like the first, I mean, you were not with your family last year, but like this is the first time I was not with my family. And there was like this is like weird, I don't know. There's a point like in December when like everything was going wrong. And I was just like, I am not the person my parents raised me to be. And I think that's not necessarily like a bad thing because I think it like helps you develop the like independence and the capability to see yourself as a person. And then like once you can identify your own issues and your own expectations for yourself, you can like work towards that and like create the picture. Like I don't know, I feel like you can be more who like you expect yourself to be instead of who like your family does. But I think it's also hard.
No, I think that's a very good call. I also have this sort of like guilt associated with that feeling that I'm not what I was and I'm not what my family thinks I am.
Yeah. Well, I feel like also separately, a lot of people share things with their family and I like don't share anything. They'll get the same energy from me, but like I would say like my choices obviously are a lot worse. And like just like what I talk about is a lot different. But like because of that, there's like so much that my family just doesn't know about me. I mean, I don't think they know me as well as my friends do just because I like don't share as much, but they know me in a different way.
Yeah.
And I don't think it invalidates it. It's just a different relationship.
Yeah. I guess that's actually a really smart sounding thing. I think I would have a hard time answering who knows me best, like my family or my friends. I don't know. I feel like I only started getting friends who I felt like really knew me. Maybe around like senior year of high school. Like I was obviously very close to my ex-boyfriend, and like that was sort of an interesting relationship because it was like he was like integrated into the family life.
Yeah. You said something the other day that I think is actually really stuck with me. You were talking about how like there's like 2 different parts of yourself and then like that are like pulling you to do different things and then they hate the other part of it. And Or like, so one thing I'm like, okay, like just say anything, you know, like tell stories, like share or whatever. And the other part of me is like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that ever, like, and then overthinks that forever. But then I do
Right.
it again because I'm like, oh, this is like who I am. I'm someone who like talks and shares. And then it's just like a constant
Right.
challenging cycle.
Sentiment sounds like something that I struggle with for sure. Like, I think I associate it a lot with like guilt and then like self-doubt.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I'm like, oh, I can be like spunky and alive. And then I'll do something like crazy, such as like the Halloween incident. There's multiple. And then
Take your pick.
I can even do like intermediate levels of that. Like, I don't have to be like blackout to like be crazy.
Yeah.
I can be, you know, whatever. And like,
I will do it. Even
sometimes I think that's like awesome and what life is about, and I'm happy I'm doing that. And then sometimes I have like my like mom in the back of my mind being like, "What about your future, sweetheart?" And I'm like, it's like scary.
It's like very manic too, because you like go through like spurts of like, it's like I sat down in my Colorado house. Okay, so I got my grades from first semester. We were in Colorado, and I was like, this is a fucking shit show. And the entire time I was also dealing with the whole medical bill incident. And I was
that's tough.
I haven't done anything about it. Well, we don't know. But so the point is, I had the grades. I was thinking about this, and I was like, I made every mistake I possibly could have made throughout this entire semester. And I was like, we botched this. And then I was like, okay, whatever, like first semester, like you can take that. But I was like, but now I need to set out goals. So I literally made 5 categories of like aspects of my life and like things that I was going to work on. And then I set concrete goals for each one of them. And I was like, and you're going to check in. I was like, and it's going to happen. And obviously I didn't follow them. But like I would like update it each month and be like, try to be like intentional about the choices I was making, just because I was like, this can't happen. But then as soon as I would get better, I would be like, this sucks. And then I would go back to the other thing. So it's a disaster. But I think certain you like tamper it down until you land in the middle.
I think that's actually really incredible that you did that.
Like, it was pretty bad though.
That's not, I feel like it's not, that doesn't matter. That's not really what I'm concerned about. I think it's incredible that you like sort of like pulled yourself up by the bootstraps and like got going. I think that's awesome. I think it's all about the process. When you're in college, like nobody's supposed to have everything figured out. And the people that act like they do, first of all, are assholes and I don't want to hang out with them. And second of all, like either are completely wrong about the rest of their life or are going to have an extremely boring rest of their life.
True.
So I don't feel like either one really pertains to you. I just feel like we're in this sort of space of not knowing, and like you're embracing it and working on self-improvement stuff, which is awesome.
I that's my thing. I'm kind of like you. We were put into this new situation. I'm like, obviously I'm going to make mistakes, but the point is like learning how to identify them and grow from it, because I can't deal with that again. Like it was more just like, I was like, I cannot have a repeat of this. Yeah. I was like, we are at a low, and I was like, and I've had other lows, and this one feels worse.
No, that's super powerful. Okay, I have stumbled upon across another note that I've made that has 4 categories.
Okay, things that I want out of life. For that, I feel like me as a person, I'm a lot more about like the vibe of things than like a concrete thing, if that makes sense. I think mostly I want to feel like purposeful. I need to have some motivating force in my life. Otherwise, like I like will do like nothing, but then I also feel really shitty about that. So it's just easier when I have like a task and a goal. And I also just like, I don't know. What I'm most worried about is like letting so much time pass, like without like doing the things I feel like that should be happening, but just kind of hoping it will work itself out. But like, I just don't want to feel like I waited too long.
Okay, this is what I'm hearing.
Right.
So you want purpose out of your life in your day-to-day. That's what you want. And also at the end of the day, like the end of your life, you want to feel like you lived a life of purpose. And you don't know specifically what job you want, where you want to live, those things. You don't know those answers yet, but you want to know that when you wake up in the morning, you're taking steps towards figuring out or like setting yourself up for what you would want. You're interested in.
this one's really hard. I don't have interests, and I hate that. And like, it's always been a huge issue for me.
Maybe I didn't like phrase this right because I feel like the answer to that question sounds like it has to be like economic policy of Latin America.
No,
like,
but even like random thing. Like, I don't know. Like, I
what
think
about
sometimes
TV Waller-Bridge?
I find TV shows like fascinating. Like, I'll like honestly like beyond. I like to research them. Like, even through high school, I would choose TV shows for like my research projects. Like, we had like an Islam project, so I would talk about like the portrayal of Islam in like Homeland and other shows.
Fascinating.
It was really cool. It was really interesting. It actually has like a huge effect. There's all sorts of like research studies on like how people like view characters and stuff that affects people's day-to-day decision making. Also, this is awful, but I think I've learned a lot about people through TV. Like, I think like
that's awful. Sorry, I'll stop interrupting.
Oh no, don't worry. But like I was talking to my dad about this actually the other day because he was talking about like books or whatever, and I was like, I think you can learn way more about people through TV shows. I was like, because you're watching all these interactions as like an outsider. I was like, but then you get all the other perspectives that I just feel like you can like, I don't know.
Now TV shows are like actual pieces of literature. Real reflections of society.
Yeah, like, and obviously not all of them, but I think like there's obviously been a shift from like movies to TV shows. So people are now allocating like more resources and actual like thought to them.
Do a last question.
Okay.
Things that make you happy.
I like hanging out with people. I think that makes me the most happy because I feel like it's a nice balance and that you're like interacting and like doing something and it's like a fun time and like connecting with people. It's not like doing work. I feel like conversation makes everything more fun. Like, even if you're like stuck in Lao, like, what's the fun part about that? It's talking to people. And like, so whether you're doing something like awful or fun, I feel like other people make it much more fun.
Wow, that was really sweet. I like that. I'll stop recording. So. Get away.
Get away. Get away.
Really hard.
Get away.